and OIA to brief us on the developments of the day. We also have with us Sri Asim Mahajan, Additional Secretary, Gulf, and we are joined by our ambassador to Qatar, Sri Vipul. With that, I invite Secretary Sir to make his opening remarks. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, Randhir. Good afternoon to all of you. And thank you all for joining us today for this special briefing on the ongoing state visit of His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Amir of the State of Qatar, to India. His Highness, the Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, the Amir of the State of Qatar, is on a state visit to India on 17th and 18th February at the invitation of the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi. He arrived in New Delhi yesterday evening. As you are all aware, Honorable Prime Minister made a special gesture to receive His Highness at the airport. This shows not only the strength of the relations between the two countries, but also the high personal regard that both the leaders have for each other. This is the second visit of His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani to India as Amir of the State of Qatar. He last visited India in March 2015. You may recall that Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi paid his second visit to Qatar in February 2024. He had invited His Highness the Amir to pay a state visit to India at that time. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has held multiple meetings with Qatar's Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs, including on 1st January 2025 in Doha. His Highness the Amir of Qatar is accompanied by a high-level delegation comprising ministers, senior officials, and business leaders. The dignitaries who are accompanying His Highness include Qatar's Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani, as well as the Ministers of Commerce and Industry, Energy, Electronics and Information Technology, Labor, and the Minister of State for Foreign Trade. The CEOs of several top Qatari entities such as Qatar Investment Authority and Qatar Tourism are also part of the delegation. Coming to the program, this morning His Highness the Amir was received by the Honorable President of India, Srimati Draupadi Murmu, and Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi at the forecourt of the Rashtrapati Bhavan, where the Amir was accorded a ceremonial welcome. The Honorable President will be meeting His Highness in the evening today and also host a banquet reception in the honor of the Amir and the accompanying delegation thereafter. Just a while ago, the Prime Minister held bilateral talks with His Highness the Amir at Hyderabad House. Both leaders recalled the historic trade linkages, deep-rooted people-to-people ties, and robust bilateral relations between both the countries. They expressed the desire for further expanding and deepening of the multifaceted relationship between the two countries. Both sides have today agreed to elevate the relationship to a strategic partnership, and India and Qatar have signed an agreement in this regard today. Trade, investment, and energy were among the major topics of discussion between the two leaders today. The trade today between India and Qatar is about $14 billion annually. Both sides have agreed to set a target to double this in the next 5 years. Qatar is also an important partner for investments in India. The Qatar's Sovereign Wealth Fund, the Qatar Investment Authority, currently has about $1.5 billion FDI in India in sectors like retail, power, IT, education, health, affordable housing, etc. Now, both leaders today identified a number of areas in which the Qatar Investment Authority can increase investments in India. This includes infrastructure, ports, shipbuilding, energy, including renewable energy, smart cities, food parks, startups, and new technologies such as artificial intelligence, robotics, and machine learning. Prime Minister appreciated His Highness the Qatar Amir for bringing a large delegation of top Qatari businessmen for this visit. A joint business forum was held today under the co-chairmanship of the Ministers of Commerce and Industry of India and Qatar, in which top industrialists, companies, and institutions of both countries held very productive interactions. Earlier, the Joint Business Council between India and Qatar, comprising of top businesses from both the countries, met virtually. We already have institutional mechanisms in place in this regard, and His Highness Amir's visit should lead to further growth in mutual investments. India and Qatar share a very vibrant partnership in the area of energy. Qatar is a major source of LNG for India. Both leaders today noted that in February 2024, Qatar Energy and Petronet LNG Limited had signed an agreement for supply of 7.5 million metric tons per annum of LNG from Qatar to India for 20 years starting 2028. Both leaders also discussed ways to further strengthen and broaden the energy partnership, including exploring mutual investments. India and Qatar today enjoy deep-rooted friendly relations anchored in historic trade and people-to-people ties. Both countries commemorated the 50 years of establishment of diplomatic relations in 2023. The Prime Minister thanked the Amir of Qatar for his support for the large Indian community in Qatar, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic period. The Qatar Amir also appreciated the Indian community for its contribution to the development of Qatar. 2 agreements and 5 memorandums of understanding have been signed during the state visit of His Highness the Amir. The first agreement is on the establishment of a bilateral strategic partnership. A revised double taxation avoidance agreement was also signed. Both sides have also signed MOUs during the visit, including on economic partnership, cooperation in the area of archives, and documentation and youth affairs and sports. On the sidelines of the Joint Business Forum today morning, the Invest India and Invest Qatar, they signed an MOU for promoting mutual investments. CII and the Qatar Businessmen Association also signed an MOU for promoting networks between the top businessmen on either side. A joint statement will be released on the occasion, and the list of the MOUs signed between the two sides will also be made available on the ministry's website. While concluding, I can say that the Amir's visit provided an excellent opportunity for the top leadership of the two countries to discuss and cement a strategic partnership for enhanced future cooperation, as well as exchange views on regional and international issues of mutual interest. Friends, I will stop now here and will be happy to answer a few questions if you have any.
Okay, let's go with Huma.
So I'm Huma Siddiqui. I just wanted to know if the India GCC FTA talks were part of the agenda, and how many companies were represented from Qatar, which sectors, if that could be so.
Abhishek.
Hi, sir. Abhishek Chand this side. My question is regarding this strategic partnership that you have declared. Could you please explain the scope of this partnership? Will it be just in the energy sector, or the defense sector will also be included in?
Madhu.
सर मधुरेंद्र मैं न्यूज़ नेशन से मेरा सवाल है कि क्या दोनों ही राष्ट्राध्यक्षों के बीच जो बातचीत हुई उसमें इजराइल और हमास के एग्रीमेंट को लेकर भी बातचीत हुई, क्योंकि कतर का उसमें बड़ा रोल रहा और भारत भी लगातार अपील करता रहा था कि जल्द से जल्द शांति होनी चाहिए। तो इस बारे में क्या बातचीत हुई?
ठीक है, नीरज, Ayanksha.
This is Anangsha Mitra. So we have seen Qatar's active involvement right from Doha process to the agreement. During His Excellency's visit, was Afghanistan discussed? And if it's, what sort of discussion was it?
ठीक.
Thank you.
So we can take these and then we'll have these set of questions being answered first, and then we'll come back for more.
Yeah, first let me come on the GCC FTA. You see, India and the Gulf Cooperation Council, we are at this moment negotiating about having a free trade agreement. As far as Qatar is concerned, both sides are exploring the possibility of signing a free trade agreement in future. And that was one of the discussions that took place in this round of talks. As far as the strategic partnership establishment agreement is concerned, it actually elevates the present state of bilateral relations to a strategic level. What we are looking at is deepening cooperation in the fields of trade, energy, investment, security, as well as in the regional and international fora. As you know, within the GCC, India has got signed strategic partnerships with UAE, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and Kuwait. In today's meeting regarding whether Israel-Hamas was discussed, as I mentioned, both the leaders talked about the regional and international issues of mutual interest. Naturally, the Middle East situation and the evolving situation over there came up for discussions. Both sides conveyed their mutual positions that we have on the Israel-Hamas issue. India conveyed its own position. The Qatari side conveyed their own position, and we exchanged views. Both the leaders had discussions on that. As far as Afghanistan is concerned, the discussions focused on all the aspects of our region, and that is all that I can say at this moment.
Sir, thank you. Keshav Padmanabhan from The Print.
Qatari entities participated. Sorry, I missed out. So 38 Qatari entities were represented in the business forum, covering sectors such as retail, IT, tourism, technology, food processing, reality, and hospitality. There could be a few more, but I just mentioned about the important ones.
Thank you, sir. Keshav Padmanabhan from The Print. Two questions. One, when we're talking about security, did we discuss potential cooperation or sales of weapons to Qatar, seeing how they're the world's largest importer of arms? Was there any sort of discussions on deepening defense ties in that sense? And then the second question on the region in West Asia was President Donald Trump's maximum pressure campaign on Iran discussed and how that would impact the area. Could you give us a sense whether Iran was also discussed as a part of the region, sir? Thank you.
Sir, Rishikesh from PTI. So, how many Indians are currently in Qatari jails, and was the issue of releasing some of them against whom there might be minor or petty crime charges discussed during this bilateral talks?
So, Shudhir Ranjan from Bloomberg. So, one is a clarification. Did they agree to double trade to 28 billion in the next 5 years? If you could clarify that. And also, did President Donald Trump's proposal of removing all Palestinians to neighboring countries figure? If so, what was India's position and what was Qatar's position on that?
Vinita from the Asian Age Deccan Chronicle. My question, maybe the ambassador can answer this. Last year, 2 Swarups of Guru Granth Sahib was taken away by the Qatari authorities. One was returned. Has the second Swarup also been returned to the community there?
Sir, I'm Sahil Pandey from ENI News Agency. Any discussion on the former Indian Navy official which was jailed in Qatar?
Okay, let me start doubling of the trade. At this moment, Indo-Qatar trade is hovering around 15 billion, if I would say 14.8, I think that's where the figure is. Yes, both sides are setting a target for themselves to double it. So
5 years.
it's in 5 years. That means up to 2030, we are looking at a target of taking it to somewhere around 28, definitely. So that was one. Second, when it comes to the question of number of Indians in Qatari jails, I would just like to mention, see, the Indian diaspora today is the largest in Qatar as far as the expatriate population is concerned. Unfortunately, we have some of our people who are in jail. The number at this moment is around 600. And from time to time, we do see Qatari leadership granting pardons and releases them from their terms. About 85 Indians received such pardon during 2024. Regarding the, we have a transfer of sentence prisoners persons agreement that is still awaiting a ratification by the Qatari side. Regarding the Navy official who is still over there, I would like to just mention that his matter still remains sub judice in the local courts in Qatar. And as I mentioned, the Honorable Prime Minister appreciated the work that the Amir and his government is doing in the protection and the welfare of our Indian citizens. So I have covered. Now, regarding the strategic partnership part, see, we at this moment do not have any defense agreement or cooperation with Qatar. Maybe the strategic partnership agreement does talk about security as one of the areas of cooperation, which could be, security-related dialogue between the two countries. It does not. I mean, at this moment, we are not talking about any kind of defense-related cooperation. But our main focus would be trade, energy, investment, is what both sides are looking at and talking about. Regarding the Middle East peace process, I would like to again reiterate, both leaders discussed all the areas that was possible and appreciated each other's position on this particular issue.
I think ministry had issued the statements at that time, if I remember correctly, end of August or early September. So I can categorically tell you there are no Guru Granth Sahibs in the custody of Qatari authorities.
This is Kunal from PTI, sir. Two-part question. The discussions that came up regarding global and regional issues, if you could share, what are some of the, besides the Middle East, what are some of the other issues that were discussed? And secondly, as far as the strategic partnership is concerned, can we assume now that this is now coming into effect, or is there a broader timeline? Because it says decided to elevate. So just a clarity on that, sir. Thank you.
Hello, sir. I'm Siddhant from CNN News 18. Sir, this side. Yeah, hi. Sir, my question is regarding the strategic partnership, because it has opened the room for discussion in multiple domains, sir. My question is regarding the security cooperation between India and Qatar. Since Qatar is host to many terror groups, which includes Hamas, Taliban, etc., etc., and Indian neighborhood perhaps is known for many terror groups. They mushroom on in our neighborhood. So are we looking at a possibility, may not be now, but in future, for a security, cooperation, intelligence sharing, etc., etc.? Thank you.
Sir, Mohan Sharma from Bharat Express. GCC and FTA works together, but there has been an issue between the Oman and some of the partner. Has it been discussed or not?
नमस्कार सर, मैं नीरज दुबे, प्रभा साक्षी से। सर, अक्सर ऐसी रिपोर्टें आती रहती हैं कि कतर में जो भारतीय मजदूर हैं उनकी जो पुअर वर्किंग कंडीशंस हैं उसको लेकर, तो क्या इस मुद्दे पर भी कोई बातचीत हुई? और सर, आप इजराइल और हमास से संबंधित सवाल का जवाब दे चुके हैं। मेरा आग्रह रहेगा कि अगर आप हिंदी में उसका एक बार फिर से जवाब दे दें।
Regarding the workers' conditions in Qatar, I would request Ambassador if he can highlight. To the best of my knowledge, because I also handle the CPV and OIA issues, I can tell you that we have a joint working group mechanism between India and Qatar. If there are any issues flagged to us as far as the workers are concerned, that is discussed between the two joint working groups. The last joint working group just met a week ago, and there were no concerns regarding the workers' conditions over there. This much I can highlight, but if there is anything specific, I would request Ambassador to nothing. So I just want to highlight that. So that was something, as I mentioned, the Honorable Prime Minister thanked the Amir of Qatar for the excellent cooperation that we are receiving for the welfare of our Indian citizens that are there in Qatar. Regarding strategic partnership, as I mentioned, security cooperation, there could be, at this moment, I think somebody raised the question whether it comes into effect right now or not. Well, the agreement has been signed today. So it's a strategic partnership agreement covering the entire spectrum of the bilateral relationship. Definitely a roadmap will be drawn for cooperation in future. And then both sides will work towards implementing the strategic partnership agreement. As and when the security related issues would come up within the agenda, definitely will be discussed under the strategic partnership agreement. As far as GCC is concerned, see, Qatar last year facilitated the GCC process as the chair of the GCC in holding the first meeting of India GCC foreign minister level, where we have been able to identify a few areas of cooperation within the GCC framework. India has an excellent relationship with the GCC countries individually, as well as GCC as a body. So as far as this meeting was concerned, the Honorable Prime Minister appreciated the efforts that Qatar made as the chair of the GCC last time in organizing this meeting. And as I just mentioned, that while there is talks going on for an Indo-GCC FTA, India at the bilateral level with Qatar has decided that we will look at the possibility of having an FTA in future. So one is at a multilateral level and this one is at a bilateral level. And जैसे आपने कहा, मैं इतना बताना चाहता हूं कि मिडिल ईस्ट पीस प्रोसेस पर दोनों नेताओं ने आपस में बातचीत की और वो एक दूसरे का जो कंट्री का जो पोजीशन है उन्होंने एक दूसरे को बताया और एक दूसरे का जो निजी जो पोजीशन है वो एक दूसरे से उन्होंने अप्रिशिएट किया और वो समझे कि हमने क्यों ऐसा पोजीशन अपनाया हुआ है और उनका पोजीशन क्या है, और हम दोनों में आपस में उसी विषय पर बातचीत हुई. So again in English, both sides, they appreciated each other's position and they discussed the Middle East peace process. I don't want to go into the entire nitty-gritties of the details, but I can just tell you that this was definitely discussed. See, all the, I mean, issues that were there between us, the entire spectrum that is possible was covered during the delegation level talks.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we come to the closure of this press briefing. Please do look for the joint statement, which will be put up on the MEA website that has more details, as also a list of announcements in regard to the visit. So that will give you a broader sense, a broader outline of all that we've covered in this visit. Historic visit in a sense where we have uplifted this partnership to a strategic one. With that, thank you very much for your presence.